My parents spent $200,000 on my sister's destination wedding in Italy, money my grandmother left for both granddaughters' weddings. When I asked for my half, my mother looked me in the eye and said, "Grandma would want it spent on someone who married well, not wasted on you." At the wedding, my new brother-in-law mistook me for a servant and laughed about it with my sister while I stood there humiliated. I left that night and didn't speak to them for 3 years. Then one morning, a desperate tech executive walked into my office begging for funding that would save his company from bankruptcy. His voice was shaking as he said, "Please, my company really needs this deal." He stopped dead when his assistant showed him my file. His face went white when he realized the venture capitalist holding his company's fate in her hands was the woman he had insulted. You won't believe what I did next. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let me know where you're listening from in the comments. My name is Emma Carter, and I'm 31 years old. Today, I'm a senior partner at my own venture capital firm, but 3 years ago, I was just the disappointing daughter who hadn't married well, the forgotten granddaughter, the sister who didn't matter. It started when my grandmother passed away and left $200,000 specifically for her granddaughters' weddings. The will was crystal clear, to be divided equally between Emma and Ashley. I was 28, single, working 70-hour weeks as a junior analyst trying to make it in finance. My younger sister Ashley had just gotten engaged to Marcus Harrison, a tech executive who my parents treated like he walked on water. I thought we would split the money fairly. I was wrong. Every family dinner became about Ashley's wedding, the venue in Tuscany, the designer dress, the guest list of 150 people. I tried to bring up my half of the inheritance multiple times, but my mother would wave me off. "We'll discuss it later, sweetheart." My father would change the subject. Ashley acted like I hadn't even spoken. 2 weeks before the wedding, I finally confronted them with a copy of Grandma's will. I sat at their dining table and read the words aloud, to be divided equally. Then I asked directly for my $100,000. My father sighed like I was being difficult. "The money's been spent on deposits, Emma. Don't be selfish." Ashley looked at me with this expression of pure entitlement. Grandma would want her money spent on someone who married well, not wasted on if and when you find someone. I felt like I had been slapped. That's not what the will says. That money was for both of us. My mother reached across and patted my hand like I was a child. "Life isn't fair, sweetheart. Ashley's wedding is an investment in family connections. Yours would just be, well, a party, if it ever happens." Marcus sat there through the whole thing and said absolutely nothing. I still went to the wedding. I know. I should have stayed home. But some part of me still hoped they would see how wrong this was. I dressed in a simple but elegant dress because I couldn't afford the $1,500 bridesmaid dress Ashley had demanded. I showed up and tried to be supportive. During the cocktail hour, I was standing near the catering area when Marcus approached me. He looked right at me and said, "Excuse me, can you bring champagne to table 5? I stared at him. "Marcus, it's me, Emma, Ashley's sister." His face broke into this awful laugh. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. You just looked like, well, you blended in with the staff. No offense." Ashley walked up at that exact moment and instead of defending me, she laughed too. "Emma, maybe you should have worn something nicer. This is a high-class event." They walked away giggling like it was the funniest thing in the world. Several guests had witnessed the whole thing. My parents saw it happen and turned away like they hadn't noticed. That night, I sat alone in my hotel room while the reception continued without me. I looked at old photos of Ashley and me as kids, back when we were actually close, and I realized something. This wasn't just about the money, it was about fundamental respect. They didn't see me as equal. They didn't see me as worthy. I packed my bags, booked an early flight, and left a note for my parents. I hope Ashley's wedding was worth losing a daughter over. For 3 years, I didn't speak to any of them. I blocked their numbers after the 100th guilt trip voicemail. And I threw everything I had into my career. I worked like someone possessed. Every promotion, every successful deal, every dollar I made was proof that I was worth something, even if my family couldn't see it. I started my own firm, Carter Ventures, built it from nothing. And then one morning, my assistant brought me a file for a pitch meeting. The company name caught my eye: Harrison Tech Solutions, CEO, Marcus Harrison. I opened the proposal and smiled for the first time in weeks. His company was drowning. Poor management, unrealistic projections, desperate for funding. And I was the one who got to decide if he survived. The morning of the pitch meeting, my team gathered in the conference room to review Harrison Tech's proposal. My senior analyst laid out the facts without sugarcoating anything. Financials are weak. 3 CFOs in 2 years. Employee turnover is through the roof. The technology has potential, but leadership is the red flag. I asked the question I already knew the answer to. If the CEO was replaced, would this company be viable? Possibly, but with Marcus Harrison at the helm, this is a sinking ship. I made my decision right there. I would attend the meeting professionally and evaluate the proposal on its merits. And based on those merits alone, Harrison Tech was already failing. My assistant mentioned that Marcus was bringing his wife for support, and I felt my stomach tighten. I was about to face both of them. When they walked into my conference room, Marcus was all confidence and expensive suit. Ashley clung to his arm looking like she had just stepped out of a magazine. Neither of them recognized me at first. I had changed. Sharper, more polished, radiating the kind of power that comes from building something yourself. Marcus launched into his pitch, overpromising and vague on every specific detail. My team asked the hard questions he could not answer. Ashley kept interrupting with comments about being a family company and valuing loyalty, which made me want to laugh out loud. Finally, I spoke. Mr. Harrison, your projections assume 300% growth with no clear strategy. Can you explain that? He stumbled through an answer that made no sense. And your employee retention rate is 40%. Industry standard is 85. Why is that? Marcus got defensive. Startups are tough. People who can't handle it leave. That was when Ashley really looked at me for the first time. Her face went absolutely pale. Emma? Marcus turned to me, confused. Then his assistant leaned over and whispered something while showing him my bio on her tablet. I watched the realization hit him like a freight train. You're Emma Carter? Ashley's sister? His voice cracked. I kept my expression neutral. We're not here for a family reunion. This is a business meeting. Continue your pitch, Mr. Harrison. He tried. He really tried. But the proposal fell apart under scrutiny, and everyone in that room could see it. My team exchanged glances. This was not going well for Harrison Tech. After they left, my team unanimously recommended declining the investment. The reasons were purely business: poor management, unrealistic projections, toxic company culture. When I revealed my connection to them, my senior analyst was clear. Even if you didn't know them, this would be a hard pass. There are too many red flags. Then we're in agreement, I said. We decline based on business merits. The next day, Marcus and Ashley returned for our decision. Ashley tried to pull me aside for a private conversation, but I refused. This is a business meeting. Everyone stays. I delivered the verdict cleanly. Harrison Tech does not meet our investment criteria. Your financial planning is insufficient. Your retention rates indicate serious management problems, and your growth projections are not supported by data. We're declining to invest. Marcus's desperation was immediate. Emma, please, we need this funding. The company will fail without it. Then I suggest you address your fundamental business problems. Perhaps start with leadership. His face flushed red. You're doing this because of the wedding, aren't you? Because of what I said? I looked him directly in the eye. What you said at your wedding showed your character. Your business proposal shows your competence. Neither meets our standards. Ashley broke down. Emma, please. We'll lose everything. Our house. Our savings. You mean the house you bought with money that should have been split between us? The lifestyle funded by my grandmother's money that I never saw a cent of? The room went completely silent. Marcus tried one more time at the door. I'm sorry. For the wedding. For everything. I was an ass. Ashley was crying. Emma, I'm so sorry. I should have stood up for you. I should have made sure you got your half. Please. You're sorry now because you need something from me. Where was this apology 3 years ago? Where was it at your wedding when your husband mistook me for a servant and you laughed? We were wrong, but we're family. My voice was steady and final. Family does not treat each other the way you treated me. My grandmother left that money for both of us. You spent it all. You got your wedding. Consider that your only investment from our family. Your proposal was not up to par. The only way it could have passed was through favoritism, and I don't do that. Ever. Now please, leave. They walked out devastated, and I closed the door behind them. 5 minutes later, my phone rang. It was my mother. Emma, Ashley just called crying. How could you do this to her? To your sister? To family? I kept my voice calm. I made a business decision based on merit. If Ashley's husband had a viable company and treated people with respect, we would be having a different conversation. Your grandmother would be so disappointed in you. That was the line that made something inside me snap. Grandma left money for both of us. You spent it all on Ashley. Don't talk to me about what Grandma would want. I hung up. But I did not block the number. Not yet. There was still one more thing I needed to do. 2 months after I declined their funding, Harrison Tech collapsed. I read about it in an industry newsletter. Company liquidation, employees laid off, the whole thing shut down. My assistant mentioned it was the proposal we had turned down, and I just nodded. I felt no satisfaction, just closure. Then Ashley called from a number I did not recognize. Emma, how could you do this to us? To family? We lost everything. I kept my voice steady. Ashley, your husband's company failed because of mismanagement. Multiple firms turned you down before you even got to me. But you could have helped us. You have money. That's what family does. Like how you helped me get my half of Grandma's money, like how you stood up for me at your wedding. That was 3 years ago. Let it go. No. You let go. You let go of me. You made your choice then. I'm making mine now. Her voice turned vicious. Mom and Dad are right about you. You're cold. Heartless. I said the words I had been holding for 3 years. You taught me something important, Ashley. Family is whoever treats you with respect. You're not family. You're just people I used to know. I hung up and blocked the number. My parents called every day after that, leaving guilt-trip voicemails. Your sister is suffering. You've torn this family apart. We raised you better than this. I did not respond. But I also did not block them completely. There was something I needed to do first. I sat with my financial advisor and set up an anonymous monthly payment. $2,000 a month sent to my parents through a trust that could never be traced back to me. They would receive it as investment returns from an old account my grandmother had set up. My advisor looked confused. You're estranged from them. Why do this? Because they're still my parents. I don't want them to struggle. But I also can't have them in my life. This is my compromise with myself. I could not forget what they did. But I also did not want to be cruel. The payments would keep them comfortable. From a distance. On my terms. 6 months later, I stood on stage accepting the Venture Capitalist of the Year award. In my speech, I said something I had learned the hard way. Success isn't about who you know or what family you come from. It's about integrity, hard work, and treating people with respect. After the ceremony, young women approached me. One of them had tears in her eyes. I'm estranged from my family too. They didn't support my career. Your story gives me hope. That was when I realized my pain had purpose. I started a mentorship program specifically for women from unsupportive families. I turned my grandmother's lesson into something bigger than just my own story. One afternoon, I was in a coffee shop when Marcus walked in. He looked different, humbled, working as a consultant now. He saw me and walked over. Emma, I owe you an apology that's 3 years overdue. I was arrogant. I treated you terribly. You were right to turn down our investment. The company was a mess because of my leadership. I nodded. I appreciate you saying that. Ashley and I are in therapy. We're working on understanding why we felt so entitled. How we hurt people. He paused. For what it's worth, you made the right business decision. And probably the right personal one, too. We parted ways, not friends, but with something like closure. That evening, I sat in my apartment looking at a photo of my grandmother. I thought about the $100,000 I never got, and I realized something profound. That money would have been nice, but what I built on my own was worth so much more. I had respect. I had success. I had self-worth. And I had built it all myself. My parents still receive those monthly payments. They have no idea they come from me. My sister sent one letter through my lawyer, a real apology, finally taking accountability. I read it but did not respond. Some bridges stay burned, some doors stay closed. And that is okay. I learned that self-respect and boundaries are not revenge. They are survival. I learned that you do not need your family's validation to know your worth. And I learned that sometimes the best thing you can do for people who hurt you is simply remove yourself from their lives and build something beautiful without them. They wanted me to be small, to accept crumbs, to be grateful for disrespect. Instead, I built an empire on my own terms. Thanks for listening to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about standing up for yourself and knowing your worth.